Good morning, everybody. I am Anusha of CSC Department, working as Assistant Professor in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. In my videos, I was discussing about the subject programming with objects, which is based on Java. In the previous class videos, we have discussed briefly about the lang and util package. And in today's videos, we will be discussing about files, streams, and random access file operations. So, file is a place wherein we store any data. Like we can have a database or some text file or a word file. So there are a lot of places, ways by which we store data in a computer. So all those things are called as files. Now, if we want to access these files in Java, we have to make use of the class called as file class. So these file class deals with the files and the file systems. So there are a lot of methods which can be used, which will describe the properties of the file, and we can manipulate the manipulate the information related to that using these methods. So to create an object of a file, there are a few constructors which can be used. In the first format, we pass the path of that file as a string to create a file object. In the second case, we pass the path as a string and a path as a string as well as a file name. And in the third case, we can pass the path as an object of a file type and the file name as a string. So these are the three mainly used constructors. There are other constructors also. These three constructors are mainly used to create file objects. So let's look into a small program dealing with the files in Java. So I am passing my path as my path to this file constructor, so that I can create an object of file type. So an object of this path is being created, which points to that particular file. So in that, I'm checking whether that file exists or not. So the method exists will return true if that file is existing in the system, if it according to our given path, and it returns false if does not exist. Since this file exists in my system, the value will be returning as true. So, and also I'm making use of the ternary operator. So what does the ternary operator do? So if this part is true, then the first value will be displayed, and if this is false, then this one will be displayed. So in my case, the file exists. Since the file is existing, the value of f1.exist will be true. Hence, the statement exist will be displayed. So I get exist in my output. Next, I'm retrieving the name of the file using the method getName. So it will return the name of the file, wherein in this path my file name is source, so it will return source. Now similarly, the isDirectory method will check whether that given object is a directory or whether it is a directory or not. So in my case, source is a folder, so because of which this will return true. So I'll get the answer true. Now it is the isFile method will check whether that given object is a file or not. As a source is as this source is a directory, the isFile will be returning false. Now, canWrite method is used to check whether we can write whether the file is writable or not. So this the source file is a writable file. Hence, the value will be true. Again, here I am using the ternary operator. Since the answer to this part is true, the first section will be displayed. So we get the output F1 is writable. Similarly, I'm checking whether it can be read. The can read method will return true if it is readable and return false if it is not readable. So since this value is true, my statement F1 is readable will be displayed in the output. Similarly, if the get absolute path will return the path of that particular object which we have created. So the path is whatever we had given here, it forms the path. So that same thing we will get it in our output. Now the get parent method will return the parent of that particular object. So our object was like the final one was source. So the other part till here will form the parent of it. So we get the output as that path, that its parent path, and the length returns the number of bytes in the file size, or the number of bytes in that file, which is having about 8,192 bytes. So these are the various method which is available in file class. Now let's see how we can read and write files in Java. So to read and write file into files, we make use of file input stream and file output stream, which creates byte stream which is linked to it. So we can create the file input stream object by passing the file name as a string, and also we can create the object of file output stream while passing the file name as a string. So, and these two methods will throw file not found exception in case that file does not exist in the system. So we can pass the file input stream. It creates an input stream that is used to read bytes from a file. So there are two constructors which can be used, wherein one specify the file path, the path of the path as a string, and the other you can give a file object as a parameter. So these classes will implement the closable and the auto closable interfaces, wherein this closable and auto closable interfaces contains the close method, which has to be called to release the resources which is held by these objects. So if we are making use of the first constructor, this is how we give the we create the object. So we are specifying the a file name as string, and in the second case, first we are creating the file object by specifying the path, and that file object is passed to the file input stream class. Similarly, we can create a output stream. It can create a file output stream is used to write data into file. We have four constructors, wherein the first constructor will take the path as a string. The second constructor will take a file object. The third constructor is taking the path as a string, and we are opening it in either append mode or not. Like if append is true, then it is opened in appending mode, or else it is not. And similarly, we can, in the fourth case, we can pass the file object as a parameter, and again whether we have to specify whether it is in appending mode or not by specifying true or not. So if it is in true, then it will be opened in append mode. Again, also these files also will throw the file not found exception if that file is not obtained. And also when we make use of this file output stream, this will create the object file wherein you want to write the data. So when you may be copying data from somewhere and you want to put it into some data, so that file will be automatically created by this file output stream with class. Now, the mainly used method to read data is the read method, which is defined within the input stream, and this read data will read a single byte from the file and returns the byte as an integer value. That means it will return its ASCII value, and it will take the value minus, it will return -1 when it reaches the end of the file. So it can also throw the input output IO exception. Um, and also we have to make use of the close method so that it can release all the resources which which has been allocated to that particular object. So let's look into the simple example of reading data from a file. So we are creating this file with some data. Let's say this file is having ABC, then data PQ and 1, 2, 3. This is my file named as text.txt, which is present in this given path. So this is my file. So what happens? So here this was my file. So this was my file text.txt. So I'm opening it. I first created that. I created the object of input of this particular type, and I'm reading the characters which is stored in this file. So I'm making use of the read method. So this read method will read each character by character, and it will return its corresponding integer value. So it will so this loop will continue until it reaches the end of file. So at this point it will reach end of file. So it will read each character. So totally we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And here we have an enter. Here also we have an enter. So this enter is taken as 2 characters. So we get 1, 2, 3, 5. 5 characters here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we get total of 16 characters. We get total of count will be 16 characters. Now, for each character, we are to count the words, to count the number of words, we are checking whether there is space between any 2 characters, or whether there is a whether we'll press an enter, so it is going to a new line. It may again read a character, and also whether there is any tab, there is any horizontal tab between these characters. So in case, let's say if we had, since in our case, since in our case we get a carriage return here and a carriage return here, but the problem here is that it will read this line also, but it won't be able to count this line. So because of which we have to increase the word count and line count. The same reason we have to increase the word count and line count by 1. So since we don't have any space or anything here, this it will encounter this, since it encountered this -1, it won't be able to count the last line. So it will, so whenever we have a file, the value will be 1 less than the lines will be 1 less than this number. So we have to increase both the line word and line count as by 1. So in case we reach a tab, a horizontal tab or a space or a carriage return, then we have to increase the word count. Similarly, if we find any carriage return, it indicates it's the start of a new line. So we are incrementing the line count. So in these cases, these values will be always 1 less than the number of lines in this file. Hence, we have to increase the values of those by 1. So hence we got line number will be 3. We'll get line number and word number as 2, but it will be definitely containing one more line. So we get this as 16. This will be 3 and this will be 3. So that's why we get all these outputs. Now let's look into how writing a file in Java. So again, we have to make use of the file input stream and file output stream. I am passing the path. I'm passing some path. So what happens here? This file is already existing. The contents of this file is written into text1.txt. Now, Here in this case, this text1.txt file doesn't exist. So this file output stream will automatically create that file and write the data into it. So what we do, so again we are making use of the read method, and whenever until it encounters the end of file, we keep writing data into that new file, text1.text. So here let's say we are having same file text1.text, so again we have data pq and 1 2 3. So at this point only we will get the end of file. So until it reach -1, until it reach end of file, whatever data is being read from this text file will be written onto the new file text1. So this file will be automatically created by the output stream. So until it reaches -1, it will write those contents into this file. So and after writing that data, this statement will be displayed onto the console. Now, since these objects are holding these two files, we have to release them. So on these objects, on these F1 and F out, we have to call the close method of the closable and autoclosable interface. So they will release those files it is holding. So we are calling fin.close. So what happens if fin is not null, that means it is holding some file. So since it is holding some file, we are if it is not null, then we have to close it. So it will close the text file, text.text file. And in the second case, here we are closing the f out. F out is holding the text1.text file. So that will also be released when the close method is called over the input and output stream, the file input and file output stream objects. So only after we invoke close method will these files be released by that object. Let's look into the streams. So whenever any data, we generally retrieve the data from any input source. These input source and the data read from an input source may be sent to some output source. So these input and output source may be any network connection, memory location, or any disk file. So all these devices, they are physically different, but still they are handled by the same abstraction called as stream in Java. So it is a stream is an abstraction that either produces or consumes information. It is always linked to a physical device by the Java input-output system. The stream is a channel or a path along which data flows between source and destination. The IO package supports Java's basic input-output systems, including the file input-output. The support for input-output comes from the Java's core API libraries. The same IO classes and methods can be applied to different types of devices. The input stream can abstract many kind of inputs from it can abstract many kinds of inputs, like it may be from a disk or a keyboard or a network socket. Likewise, in the output stream also may refer to the console or a file or a network connection. These streams are defined within the class hierarchy of Java's IO package. Now there are some predefined streams in Java, which is already available in the Lang package. And inside this package, we have this class called as system, which encapsulates several aspects of the runtime environment. So there are three predefined variables: the in, out, and error, which are declared as public, static, and final. So this system.out refers to the standard output stream wherein we write data. So they basically forms the console, and these are of objects of print stream type. And system.in refers to the standard input, which is the keyboard by default, and they are of type input stream. System.error refers to the standard error stream, which is also which is again console by default, and they are also of type print stream. So we have already made use of system.out and system.in in many of our programs. To display any contents, we just write system.out.println. So that system.out refers to the standard output stream, and when we want to read some data from some through keyboard, we make use of the system.in. Now, there are two types of streams in Java. They are byte streams and character streams. So, the byte stream is for handling input and output operations, input and output of bytes. That means reading or writing binary data, and character streams are meant for handling the input and output of characters. They basically use the Unicode and can be internationalized. So, this character stream was included from Java's 1.1 version. Now, these Java string-based I/O has four abstract classes: the input stream, output stream, reader, and writer. The input stream and the output stream was meant for byte streams, and reader and writer are designed for character streams. Let's look into the byte streams classes in Java. So the byte stream is again defined by two class hierarchies, which has two abstract classes: the input stream and the output stream. These abstract classes have several concrete classes also, which handle various devices such as disks, networks, memory buffers, etc. The mainly used methods of these classes are the read and write, which will read and write bytes of data. And they so these are the various classes available in the byte stream class. The buffered input stream, it reads data from a buffered input stream. That means an input stream which is buffered. And similarly, we have the buffered output stream, which will read data from a buffered output stream. The byte array input stream is the input stream that reads from a byte array. The byte array output stream is the output stream that writes to a byte array. The data input stream is an input stream that contains method for reading the Java standard data types. The data output stream is an output stream that contains methods for writing the Java standard data types. File input stream is the input stream that reads data from a file. File output stream is the output stream that writes data into the file. Filter input stream and filter output stream deals with the filtered input and output, which implements the input stream and output stream. The input stream is the topmost, which is an abstract class that describes the stream input, and object input stream is the input stream for objects. Similarly, object output stream is the output stream for objects. The piped input stream and piped output stream, they both are connected using the connect method, and they work like a pipe. The print stream is the output stream that contains the print and println methods. The pushback input stream is the input stream that support one byte, which returns one byte unget, which returns a byte to the input stream, and the sequence input stream and the input stream that is a combination of two or more input stream that will read sequentially one after the other. So these are the various classes inside the byte stream class. Next, we have the character stream class, which is meant to read the characters. They again have the two abstract classes, reader and writer. They always handle the Unicode character stream. In these also, there are two methods, read and write, which is generally used to read and write characters of data. So the various character stream classes are buffered reader, which reads a buffered input character stream; buffered writer, which writes a buffered output character stream. Character array reader is the input stream that reads a character from an array. Character array writer is an output stream that writes a character to an array. Writes to a character array. And file reader is the input stream that reads from a file. Writer is the output stream that writes to a file. The filter reader and filter writer are applicable for filtered input and filtered data, which performs a filtered reader and a filtered writer. The input stream reader is the input stream that translates bytes to character, and line number reader is the input stream that counts line. Output stream writer is the output stream that translates characters to bytes. The output stream reader is the output stream that translates characters to bytes. The piped reader and the piped writer works with the connect method, which makes them work together. Then the print writer is the output stream that contains the print and println methods. The pushback reader is the input stream that allows character to be returned to the input stream. The reader is the abstract class that describes character stream input. The string reader is the input stream that returns from a string. The string writer is the output stream that writes to a string, and the writer is the abstract class that describes character stream output. Next is random access file in Java. This random access file encapsulates a random access file. It allows non-sequential or random access to any location in the file. So we have the method called as peek, which will allow the random access of any location in the file. So this it implements the interfaces, data input and data output, which define the basic I/O methods. It also implements the closable and auto-closable interfaces. So using the seek method, we can move the file pointer to for reading and writing operations. We can move the file pointer by making use of the seek method. So these are the two constructors which we use to create the random access file. So in first case, we may pass two parameters. One is the file object. The first parameter is the file object, and the access, the type of access which is permitted, which may be the read mode, read write mode, etc. Similarly, we can pass a file name as a string and file name, and we can specify the mode of access. So this access can be, if the access is in R mode, then it is only can be read but not written. If it is in RW mode, then the file can be opened and written. The file is opened in read write mode. If it is RWS, then it is opened for read write operation, and every change to the file's data and metadata will be immediately written into the physical device. If it is RWD, then only it is opened in read write operations, and the change only to the file data is written into the physical device immediately. And the seek method is used to set the current position of the file pointer within the file. So this is the syntax for seek method, which the seek method, we can pass some random location by as a parameter to the seek method, so that it can position the file pointer to that particular point. So that is all for today's video, and in preparing these videos I had made use of the textbook Complete Java Complete Reference by Herbert Shield. It's 9th edition, and these three websites were also used to prepare the slides. So in today's video we had discussed about the file management, the different streams, the character and byte streams in Java, and about the random access file operation. So that is all for today's video. Thank you for watching me. We will see you in the next session.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.